Hello there, welcome to Brian Lomax Movie Talk and my ranking of the DC EU, the DC Cinematic Extended Universe, whatever. Can't keep up with these things. Anyway, yeah, I'm talking about 7 films here. Some people may be saying, 7, Brian? There's only 6 so far. But I am counting the 2 different cuts of Batman v Superman as 2 separate films, simply because to me there's so much differences between them it changes the placing basically of the movie. So we'll get to that when we get to that. So yeah, DC Extended Universe, let's go. At number 7 we've got Suicide Squad. This is unequivocally the worst of the bunch, I think. The trailers got me so excited. They were so well edited, so well put together. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers thought that the people who edited those trailers should also edit the film, and yeah, it was a mistake, a big mistake. Also, Cara Delevingne as the main villain, not good. She looks embarrassed, quite frankly. I do blame the director, David Ayer, for that mostly, but I've never been a particularly big fan of Cara Delevingne either, so the combination of the two doesn't make great cinema. It's not unwatchable. It is entertaining. It's what you call a guilty pleasure. I know some people say, oh, you should never feel guilty about watching something. It's just a term, it's just an expression. I know the film's bad, but hey, I can still watch it. I can still get some enjoyment out of it, and that's all I mean by guilty pleasure. And I think it fits the bill. I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. I can't call it good. To me, a good film is a 3 out of 5. It can't quite get there, but like I say, I can stick it in. At number 6, and this may be quite a surprise for some people who know me and my history of reviews on this channel, is Justice League. I say that's a surprise to some because my review for Justice League is, I'm sure it will be an endless cause for regret, shall we say. I gave it a 5-star review when it came out, and at the time when I watched it, I had such enjoyment with that film. The first time I watched it at the cinema, I came out and I bought another ticket and went back in. I think all of the negativity surrounding the lead up to it, and because of the reaction to BVS, I was really scared for the film. And I think when I sat down and I watched it that first time in cinema, I just had a blast with it. So I got up out of my seat at the end, I went and bought another ticket, and I went and watched it a second time, something I never do. And I enjoyed it just as equally, it must be said. So I came straight out of that, and I did purely on enjoyment terms. I think I overreacted and gave it a 5-star review. Again, like I say, I'm never going to live that down. Getting it on Blu-ray, watching it since, the flaws there are flaws. Obviously there are flaws. I could see them when I first watched it. I was in denial, clearly. Basically, Joss Whedon's style does not mesh with Zack Snyder's style. I love a Joss Whedon film. I love a Zack Snyder film. Combine the two together, it just doesn't work. And not to mention the fact it was a rush job. They needed to get the film out, the studio executives, in order to get their end of year bonus, and that really screwed the film over. It screwed Zack Snyder over. It screwed his vision over. Out of the two, I would rather see a Zack Snyder version of Justice League than a Joss Whedon one. That's no offence to Joss Whedon, but we got his Avengers. I'd like to see Snyder's Justice League rather than just a DC version of Avengers. I like that DC tends to be darker, tends to be more serious. I still enjoy it though. I love all these characters, these main characters, and I think considering this is the first film in which they're all together, it's the first film in which you see most of them, half the team, I should say. I think they do a good job of getting them together and giving them enough backstory to justify doing so without having had solo movies prior to that. You know, would I have preferred solo movies first? Probably, yeah. But considering we didn't have them, I think they did a pretty good job. Like I say, it's just that rushed shooting schedule, all the stuff with Zack Snyder, that, you know, the studio essentially screwing him over, him having to leave. It hurt the production big time. So I would give Justice League now, with my clear and rational thinking head on, I would give it a 3.5. I think it's a good film. I think it's better than good. I do. I still have a lot of fun with it, but it does have those issues. At number 5, we've got the latest entry in the DCEU, and that's Aquaman. Yeah, I like Jason Momoa in the role. I think the villains are very strong in it. I love Black Manta as the hired muscle. I like the motivations of both him and Ocean Master. I think Nicole Kidman brings some heart to the film. I think the action sequences are incredibly well shot, incredibly well directed by James Wan. I think the film is let down in parts by cheesiness. I don't mind cheesiness. I know I said in my review it's not for me. That's not entirely true. You know, good bit of cheese, good dose of cheese can, yeah, I don't mind it. But yeah, there are parts when it's laid on a bit thick for me, a bit too thick. There are a couple of parts where the film does go over into silly territory, i.e. octopus playing the drums, things like that, and the special effects, because there's so many special effects, does get a little bit obvious at times, you know, that it is CGI. I think that's kind of unavoidable in this day and age when you know, even Lord of the Rings has their moments, and I think this is what Aquaman is. That's what Aquaman's going for. It is going for that epic, otherworld kind of vibe, and I think for the most part they pull it off. It's a beautiful creation. This underwater city of Atlantis and the other kingdoms that we go into. So yeah, very happy with it. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. For anyone who's seen my review, you would know that already. But yeah, love it. Thought it was really good. Number 4 for me is Batman v Superman, the theatrical cut. I really liked this the first time around. I thought the criticisms, most of the criticisms, were unfair. I did think some were valid, but I think that people just went so overboard in their attack on Snyder. And most of the criticisms, as we see when we get to the ultimate cut, that were levelled at Snyder are invalid once you see that ultimate cut. So who really is to blame? It's the studio again, you know, and Snyder's been so screwed over in this universe, this DC universe, with the way that he's been handled by the studio, that I really feel sorry for the guy. He's put his heart and soul into these movies, and at every turn he's been scuppered. That being said, I still like the theatrical cut. I probably won't watch it again, because if I'm going to go to this movie, I'm going to go to the ultimate cut. But if we didn't have that ultimate cut, if I just had to go on my emotions and feelings of when I first saw this film in the theatres, then this is the place I would put it in. I still like it a lot. I like the dark, hard-edged Batman. I do like Lex Luthor. I know a lot of people really don't. I loved what Eisenberg brought to it. I loved what Snyder was going for with that kind of character, you know, like a Mark Zuckerberg type version of Lex Luthor. I think the action scenes are incredible. To me, the story makes perfect sense. I know a lot of people say it doesn't. My main gripe is the Doomsday thing. I don't think Doomsday is handled particularly well. I don't think they give enough in there to suggest that Lex Luthor believed he could fully control Doomsday, which kind of makes his whole plan fall apart, you know, crazy or not. But yeah, I do. I like it. I like the aesthetics. I'm a big Batman fan, and this really pushed my Batman buttons. Wonder Woman as well, stepping up to the plate. First appearance from her, and Gal Gadot kills it. You know, it made you want to see another Wonder Woman movie. And people forget that before this film, they were trashing Gal Gadot, they were trashing Ben Affleck, and the two of them proved everyone wrong. You know, many people now would consider Ben Affleck to be the best Batman, and I don't think there's anyone that I can think of who would disregard Gal Gadot anymore in this role. So yeah, she definitely made it her own. I'd give it 4 out of 5. I do really love it, so yeah. But I will never watch it again, like I say, because of that Ultimate Cut. Number 3, we've got Wonder Woman, perhaps the film with the most heart out of this franchise. Gal Gadot is just excellent in it. All the supporting players are really fantastic. Chris Pine, I love his character as well. I love the chemistry between him and Wonder Woman. It's got some really rousing moments. The scene in No Man's Land, obviously everyone talked about that, and with good reason. It really stirs the heart. It really gets you pumped. The action sequences, again, are incredible, even if they do owe more than a debt to Zack Snyder's style. You know, people really kind of raved about those, and yeah, when Snyder does it, whatever. I've banged on about that long enough, but you see my point. Yeah, I think it is an incredible film. I think the villains are fairly strong as well. We essentially get 3 villains in this. All of them I kind of enjoy. I think the main villain at the end, his reveal, if I had a fault with the film, I think it goes a little bit too CG. And I think the actor that they have, although I like that actor, I think maybe I wouldn't have cast him in this role. I don't think. I think I would have gone with someone else. But hey, that's neither here nor there. It's still an incredible film, a really great comic book movie, and I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. Outstanding stuff. At number 2, we got Batman v Superman: The Ultimate Cut. Yeah, Snyder's vision kind of given to us the way it was intended, and I think it's so much better. It really fleshes out the character of Clark Kent in this. His motivations are a lot clearer. I think that all the stuff that happens in the desert with Lois Lane at the beginning, that makes a bit more sense. I still think it made sense in the theatrical cut, but you had to piece it together a bit more. You had to do a bit more work to get there. Whereas in the Ultimate Cut, it feeds into the story a lot better, I think. Again, it's still got that one quibble that I have with the creation of Doomsday. There is a line in there that Luthor says, you know, about blood of my blood, which is supposed to hint at the fact that he thinks he can control Doomsday, but I think we needed more than that, personally. Beyond that, I just think it's great. It's a really great film for a comic book fan. For someone like me who loves Batman from the comic books, loves The Dark Knight Returns, it just, yeah, Snyder's a geek. He's a comic book geek, and he made a film for people like me. I know I can't speak for all comic book geeks, because I know a lot of comic book fans really didn't like it. So it's just a matter of taste. It's a matter of personal opinion. But for me personally, I love it. So 4.5 out of 5 from me. Which obviously means that Man of Steel is my number 1 choice. Still one of the most underrated comic book movies for my money. I think it's absolutely perfect. Every time I watch it, I keep coming to it thinking I'm going to find something that I don't like about it, just because of the amount of negativity it gets. And every time I watch it, I don't find anything. I enjoy the ride. I enjoy the build-up. You know, we have that massive battle scene at the end, which a lot of people rant and rave about, but I think the film earns it. I think it does so much character development up until that point. And the battle itself kind of feeds in to the character of Superman and what he has to go through, the choices he has to make if he's going to be a hero. You know, people rant about him killing Zod, but he's done that before in Superman 2, and no one complained. And you know, they did it there like it was nothing. He didn't feel anything in that. There was no weight to his decision to kill Zod. And yet in this film we feel that weight in him straight after he does it. You know, the consequence of that, of carrying that weight, that burden of what he's done, and how that will carry through into further films, that he doesn't want to be that guy, he doesn't want to be the killer. You know, I feel that in that moment when Cavill gets to his knees and screams, and it's just really, it was a really powerful moment for me when I first saw it, and it still is when I watch it now. The planet Krypton is again a brilliant Avatar style world that, yeah, just incredible design work and stuff. Russell Crowe, awesome as Jor-El. Kevin Costner, again, awesome as the Earthly Father. I love it. I love all the characters. I like the journey that Clark Kent goes on to become this Man of Steel, this Superman. Yeah, so for me it's a 5-star film. Like I say, one of the most underrated comic book movies ever made, and probably in my top 10 when it comes to comic book movies, actually. But that's my list. What about yours? How would you rank the movies of the DCEU? And tell me, are you looking forward to Shazam? Comment below, let me know your thoughts, and until next time, cracking.